just had a huge speech, gave us some huge breaking news, guys, and he is going after everybody. Not only is his Justice Department firing all the employees that were used to go after Trump, but he is also investigating his own investigations with the attempts on his life with the Secret Service and the DOJ and the FBI and the CIA, guys. This is huge. We now know, guys, this is big. I want to show you this real quick. Trump Justice Department says it has fired employees involved in the prosecutions of the president. Everybody's gone. And not only that, but they are investigating into all the assassination attempts, because as of now, they said nobody knows what happened. Nobody knows how the person got so close to Trump twice. And so now they're going after the departments, the people, the leadership who were in charge at the time that Trump was also almost assassinated twice, guys. This is huge. We're finally going to get transparency on what could have been one of the worst events in American history. On top of that, part of the overhaul that Trump is doing right now in telling federal government employees that you are either going to come to work, you get three options. You're going to come to work and work in the office. You're going to, if you don't show up to work, you're going to automatically be terminated starting in February, or you can resign and we will give you 8 months severance package with benefits. So Trump is not playing games. Not only is he going to limit the size of government in his huge speech, that's what he talked about. He said, we're going to make government a lot smaller, but also he's going after all the leadership that it essentially tried covering up his attempted assassinations on his life. Also, DHS Secretary, our new DHS Secretary, Kristi Noem, has announced that she and Trump have stopped all grant funding for the NGOs who assisted in the invasion of the United States. Organizations like Catholic Charities and the Red Cross received over $340 million in 2024 from DHS to assist illegals in crossing the border. You cannot make this stuff up, guys. Trump also has officially signed the bill, the Laken Riley Act. It was a beautiful moment. It was very special. He even gave the pen that he signed the bill with to Laken Riley's mom. It was a beautiful moment. But this new bill will make sure that if an illegal is caught in a theft crime, that they will be detained and most likely deported. And this is, guys, this is like, I'm telling you guys, retribution at the highest level. Huge breaking news. Meta, also known who owns Facebook, is settling a lawsuit with Trump and is going to pay Trump 25 million big ones for suspending his account back in 2021. The funds are expected to go towards Trump's presidential library. This is amazing breaking news, guys. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. Thank you to all of our subscribers. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you every day with the top news. And thank you to all of our members of the channel. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. We appreciate you so much. Thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. And I just want to give some love to Ruby Hoove for already gifting one True Life News membership. Y'all show Ruby some love in the chat. And if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up like button. It really does help guys so much with growing the channel. So we're going to jump into this news, guys. We're going to know what happened with the attempted assassination attempts on Trump's life. Check this out.
To accept from any Biden holdovers, if that's what happened, I'm not telling you, but if that's what happened, is anything on the Trump assassination attempts. Ladies and gentlemen, it makes no sense that we know basically the entire background of people involved in school shootings and everywhere else when there's some kind of political point to be made out of dead bodies, which is disgusting in and of itself. Yet we have two people, one who tried and another one who shot the president of the United States in the head. And it's amazing. We know absolutely nothing about them. There's no social media history, anything. Folks, there is something here they're hiding. Now, for those of you who don't understand how this process works, having worked in this space for many years, there is this thing, everybody ready? This is the educational portion of today's show, edutainment, we love it. MOUs, you have to know what that is. It's a memorandum of understanding. It's basically an official memo between agencies about what their understanding is going to be on an issue. The Secret Service has an MOU with the FBI. If there is an assassination attempt, the Secret Service does not investigate it. Why? Because there's a conflict of interest. There was a feeling that the Secret Service may want to cover up if there was some kind of an issue. So what the Secret Service does at an assassination scene like they had in Butler is they secure the crime scene because they're already there. So it makes sense for them to secure the crime scene. But the FBI actually conducts the investigation. Now, the problem is a lot of people don't trust the FBI. They have done very little to, at least at the management level, to earn our trust between all of the scandals at the FBI and the fact that we still don't have information about the shooter and this other situation in West Palm Beach says to me that something's being hidden right here. Here's Matt Taibbi, a great journalist. He did a Tucker interview here on the suspicious lack of answers. And I have the not so subtle drift and feeling here that in addition to the January 6th pipe bomber, the FBI knows a whole lot about who this person is and who he may have been working with, and they just don't want to tell us. Check this out.
Then there's the whole question of the investigation of the Trump assassination incidents. We heard nothing about that. It was the most extraordinary news story that I've ever, apart from the disappearing president and the mysterious nomination and COVID, presidential candidate and ex-president gets shot and the story's dead within like 48 hours. And all you read in the news from the FBI, there are these comments saying that they don't have any motive evidence. We've done 100 interviews, but we don't know anything about why this happened or,
it's a cover-up.
What was going on there? Do you believe that? I have a very hard time believing that there's nothing interesting.
He was kind of your classic 20-year-old American kid with no social media presence whatsoever, ever.
Right. That's exactly
and it is a very typical American story where one day you just wake up and decide to die assassinating a presidential candidate for no reason.
Right. It's like
who hasn't done
your
that?
first joint. Yeah.
Your first joint. Yeah.
And then the second one. I mean, the Ryan Routh thing. That's not weird at all. Like, I just flew into Florida last night. I don't think I could have gotten my hands on a Chinese-made SKS semi-automatic rifle without help. I mean, I don't know. That's being a little conspiratorial, but look, there are a lot of...
He met with members of Congress. He lived in Ukraine.
Folks, nobody is focused more on FBI malfeasance than me. And my suspicion here, I'm just going to throw this out there that, granted, I'm speculating. But I'm speculating based on, again, data points and sourcing on the matter. I think specifically the Butler incident, where Donald Trump was shot in the head by a young man, it may have been some type of honeypot situation. May. I'm not sure. I need to get to the bottom of it myself. I'm going to make sure other people do. But I think it may have been a honeypot situation, and I'm not sure who was on the other side of that, using maybe women or other people to get this guy the logistics and everything he needed to get over there.
Wow.
It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. It's one of those situations, just like the FBI pipe bomb situation, where they seem to be really interested in the beginning in finding out who it was. And as they found out who it was, all of a sudden the investigation got shut down. Folks, I'm not sure, again, that right now the Secret Service is pushing correctly to get this information out there too. They have an interest in getting this out there to prevent this kind of thing from happening again. We need the leadership there to get moving on this stuff fast. We don't have any time. Speaking of protection, this is...
Guys, just want to say real quick, thank you so much for your support. We almost got 700 people watching, guys. That's amazing. If you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help out so much. Thank you for your support.
Turned into another one of those media situations. I mean, media people who absolutely hated John Bolton forever now all of a sudden are concerned about John Bolton's security. They're frauds. By the way, I'm concerned about John Bolton's security. I'm concerned about Mike Pompeo's security. I'm concerned about Brian Hook's security. I dislike their political positions. I categorically do not want to see anything happen to them. However, Donald Trump, I believe, made the right decision. We cannot keep security details for life for all these people. We just can't. She was asked about this yesterday. I'm going to suggest something here. If the Trump team wants to take it, they don't have to take mine. What do they need my advice for? But I have an idea here. Okay, I have an idea. And it's the same way they deal with threats to United States attorneys when they investigate mob cases. They don't get security for life either. And they're at probably far greater threat. Play this cut first, and I'll tell you my suggestion. Check this out.
On stripping security details for figures like John Bolton, Pompeo, Brian Hook, Senator Tom Cotton said that he's seen the intelligence and the threat from Iran is real for anyone who played a role in the Soleimani strike. He voiced concern it wouldn't just impact those individuals, but potentially their family, innocent bystanders, friends, anyone who's near them when they're out in public. Is the president open to reconsidering his decision?
The president was asked and answered this yesterday, and he was firm in his decision despite some of the comments that you had referenced. And he's made it very clear that he does not believe American taxpayers should fund security details for individuals who have served in the government for the rest of their lives. And there's nothing stopping these individuals that you mentioned from obtaining private security. That's where the president stands on it. I have no updates on it.
Should come out tomorrow and say, just like United States attorneys, those are basically government prosecutors. They're like DAs for the federal government. They prosecute mob people and terrorists all the time. They get threats you wouldn't believe. I've seen them. I told you, I got threats on a case I worked out of Baltimore. You put out a statement, an official statement from the Trump administration, saying and naming these three individuals and anyone else. And you basically say, if a hair on their head is harm, that you will come hell or high water. You will make sure anybody who does it, who threatens, harms, attempts to harm, talks about harming any American official from any administration, by the way, from any administration. I don't care that we didn't, from any administration that did something in the name of the United States government, and you are a foreign adversary or terrorist who is going to threaten them, that we are going to make sure that we come after you, your family members, your family members' neighbors, your family members' uncle's neighbor's dog. It is never, ever going to stop.
Guys, I'm telling you, that it's all coming to light. Everything that we've been talking about, that's been hidden from us, all the lies, guys, it's all turning around. Guys, this is about as crazy as you can get. Look at this. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta to pay President Trump $25 million to resolve a lawsuit after the company suspended Trump's account. Nobody ever thought Trump would be back on Facebook. But not only is he back, but it's turned around. He's getting paid $25 million. Not only that, guys, today was a beautiful day. Not only are we protecting Americans more, Donald Trump gives the pen to Allison Phillips, mother of Laken Riley, after he signed the Laken Riley Act. We are moving forward so fast. They're investigating all the officials that went to prosecute Trump, guys, and Bannon and is working with Trump. And now they're looking, he tells us, into the deep state. They want to go so deep into the federal government and clean house big time. Joseph Rickard, thank you so much for joining the True Life News fam. Y'all show Joseph some love in the chat, everybody. Check this out.
Look, everybody who knows says the rank and file, for the most part, are good. They want to enforce the law. They're good soldiers. We know that's not true of all of them. I mean, frankly, there's going to have to be some kicking of the tires at all levels just to see what we have. But, I mean, most of the leadership should be decimated. They allowed this to happen on their watch. And honestly, I'd love to see the FBI headquarters moved.
Take the brutalist architecture and take it apart brick by brick.
I think that building needs to go down to the studs. The whole organization needs to go down to the studs.
It's got a bad vibe.
It does.
The FBI.
How are we ever going to trust them unless there's a complete overhaul? It's a gut rehab.
Should you break it? 2/3 is counter intel, counterterrorism, and 1/3 law enforcement. Do you separate? Do you break it up into two things?
I don't even, do we have to have counter intel still in the FBI? Why are they doing that? Can't they just be cops?
Yeah, that's a big question.
I mean, we have an organization that can do that.
Don't we have enough of that? What do you want to see her do at DNI? in intel? She and Radcliffe combined.
I mean, that too, I want a makeover. I didn't realize, up until like the last 5 years, how driven they all are toward war, toward making that military industrial complex go out there, and how it's all sort of a cabal. And so I like the fact that she distrusts them.
As you look back over your Fox career, and particularly for the Iraq war, and compare it to today, because you were a lawyer, I mean, your intelligence is the same. What is the difference now that you've had a great awakening versus when you were at the place that probably was the biggest platform? Roger and those guys were 100% in back of it. What do you see today that's different than what you saw then?
There was a blind trust in the FBI and the CIA and the Pentagon. Blind trust. I mean, whatever they said, whatever they said, we went for it. And we were there to defend it. I mean, it was clear. It wasn't said explicitly, but we understood. And that was considered patriotic. And we're still very supportive on the right of cops, for the most part. You got the libertarians, like my friend John Stossel, who don't have a lot of use for them. But for the most part, Republicans are pro-cop and kind of viewed them as cops. And for a while there, the FBI was a bunch of cops. And then they got very much into the intel field, as you know, post 9/11. And that seemed important, too. We wanted to stay safe. We were very worried about getting bombed again. And then there was just this mission creep that turned them into something other than what they were supposed to be. And you had senior leadership coming out where they could, saying, we've lost control of the mission. Like, it's no longer what it once was.
Do you believe in the theory of a deep state? Do you actually believe that it's an intel, law enforcement, part national security that thinks that they are like a Praetorian Guard, that they really guard what the American empire and the American republic is, and they know better than these passing politicians, whether they're Bernie Sanders AOC types or Donald Trump types? Do you believe that actually exists?
100%, yes.
And you're not a conspiracy theorist?
No.
Why do you believe that?
Because they've been ruling for so long. They've been getting their way for so long. And look at
the evidence. It's pretty evident.
How else do you explain the 51 intelligence agents who signed the letter in coordination with the Biden White House? How else do you get that signed that quickly in coordination with the CIA, the existing CIA leadership, if there isn't? Like, they're just on like a phone tree? These guys are all part of the same group. They have a group think. And you're either in it or you're out of it. And honestly, like, there's just been too much. Like the FBI, we never knew it was so politicized. And then there was story after story. And the Trump presidency really blew that open, where we got to see the texts and the emails about them planning on taking him out. Not to mention what they did in the Mar-a-Lago raid and so on. There's just been too much evidence that they are working for an agenda of their own.
Guys, I hate to interrupt, but I have to say, it's amazing to see that what everybody thought was conspiracy theories, what everybody thought was, tinfoil hat type of stuff is all true. The deep state is true, the corruption is true, and it's all being revealed.
And I remember talking to Ron DeSantis when I went out there to interview him. And, he's a former JAG lawyer. He's an honest guy.
Special Forces JAG lawyer.
Yeah. And he had a lot of criticism for a lot of government, but none as strong as he had it for the FBI. And that was the thing he most wanted to reform.
You've lost Ron DeSantis.
Warren, who took almost $1 million from them just a couple of years ago when she ran for president. Bernie Sanders, more than $1 million when he ran for president. Each of these senators, for the most part, is in bed with Big Pharma. You look at how the cable nets cover him. I mean,
MSNBC, it's 80% of their ads at
the
night.
Wall Street Journal's against him. The New York Post is against him. That's the Murdoch Empire.
Murdoch Empire.
And then cut to the Pfizer ad, right? So it's like there are
Brought
really
to you
are
by Pfizer.
very powerful forces trying to stop him. The greatest thing is that he just doesn't care. And that was actually one of the moments that stood out to me today was when Elizabeth Warren tried to get him saying, well, you promise that after you have this job, you won't work for Big Pharma. And he laughed.
Well, no, she went to a whole litany. He goes, could you repeat that?
Right. He's like, me? He's like, first of all, they don't want me. So refreshing, first of all, to have somebody who's been antagonizing them his whole life. And then secondly, she tried to spin it. She was like, well, will you promise that you won't work for like a law firm suing Big Pharma? And he's like, well, I'm not going to promise not to sue Big Pharma. Why would I promise that? And she tried to spin it like a conflict, like Bobby Kennedy's going to get in there and approve vaccines just so playing the long game, he can then get out and join the law firms suing those vaccine makers and make money. It made no sense.
Wow.
So she was intellectually outmatched, but she was trying to do the bidding of those companies. I don't know the answer to your question, though, Steve, how he's going to actually diminish their influence, but just having him there will help. And one other point, one of the ways I know that is I know a lot of people who are in the Wall Street world trying to make money off of Big Pharma, and to a person, they've all called me to try to dump on him.
Really?
And try to
Behind the
convince
scenes.
me to get off of supporting him. It hasn't worked.
Why
but
was the question? Why you were there front and center today? That people were talking about it. It went viral on the internet. Why were you there?
Well, I support him, and I want people to know I support him. So if it's helpful to anybody to see that I'm not a kook, I have children. I don't want them to lose access to medicine.
Pretty common sense.
Yeah, and I'm 100% in his camp.
Guys, let me tell you this. It is nuts what we are seeing now. RFK confirmation hearings. But you know, Trump, guys, this is huge. Like, this is insane. Trump White House rescinds the memo freezing federal money after widespread confusion. So remember how they said we're going to stop all federal grants, we're going to stop all federal loans? Well, they sent out the memo, and it was supposed to be easy. It was supposed to be something simple, but the news and everybody has made it into craziness. So Trump came out today and cleaned it all up and made sure that he was very clear in what they were trying to do. Sherry order and also said Pocahontas was looking to scalp RFK. Yeah, she probably was. Y'all show Sherry some love in the chat. Because, guys, Trump is 100% moving forward with pausing and eliminating all the government waste. He's going to do it. Check this out.
Another Trump tornado day of news to get to. The president offering 2 million federal workers a buyout, the chance to take a deferred resignation with a severance package of 8 months of pay and benefits. The White House believes the move could save taxpayers up to $100 billion a year. They're also tweaking the order to freeze federal aid, saying it's simply a rescission of the OMB memo, President Trump explaining more.
Restating right now to correct any confusion that the media has purposely and somehow for whatever reason created. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid have not been affected by any action we're taking in any way, shape, or form. We are merely looking at parts of the big bureaucracy where there has been tremendous waste and fraud and abuse. In that process, we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million. And you know what's happened to them?
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
Man, he looks
in terms
like
of going, trying to get this done. So yes, I think democracy will have an effect, and we are going to keep at it.
All right, let me start with the job thing, Jesse. Since when does an individual who is hired to work in the office, decide that return to work is too much to ask? I mean, and why would Joe Biden sign an executive order allowing these people to stay at home and work remotely until 2029?
The View has 150 staff. The Five has 13. Mm-hmm. And so on The View, there's like 3 producers that are in charge of putting photos on the screen. Now, on our show, we have a producer that does that and does this and does like 17 other things. Same show, same format, but they have a bloated staff. Now, if you were to offer to buy out half of the 150 staffers at The View, and they took it, you wouldn't, as a viewer, know the difference by looking at the on-air product. Mm-hmm. Nothing would change. In fact, I would argue that the chemistry of the production behind the scenes at The View would improve because people would be working harder. Why don't we do that in the government? They do that at CNN, they do it at GM, they do it at Tesla. They lay off people to streamline and cut costs, but we don't do it at the federal government. Why not? So let's just say they take this buyout. Mm-hmm. It's more generous than any other buyout in the private sector. 8 months, full severance and benefits. That's crazy not to take that. We're getting worse service from the federal government Is anybody happy with how FEMA is doing? FEMA was skipping homes with Trump lawn signs.
Yeah, that's messed
Is anybody
up.
happy with the VA? They were having orgies at hospitals, Judge. Or how about Medicaid? They lose $100 billion a year in fraud, and they don't even see it. So I would argue that if you just slashed some of this workforce through severance buyouts, you wouldn't notice a difference. In fact, it might actually make the services for the federal government improve.
You know, we talk about how the government doesn't work. I don't think we meant that quite literally, but now we have proof. Nearly all of the federal employees didn't go back to work. We have to be honest. They gamed the COVID benefit.
Oh, 100%.
And they gamed it on our dime. We are paying them billions to sit home and binge watch Real Housewives while doing their nails. And don't get me started on the women. By the way, I've been fired 3 times. I've done my share of firing. That's part of life. When you get fired, it's the best thing for you. And if you're working at home and you're sad about going to work, you should be fired. You should be thankful you're being fired. Some of these people would show up 1 day a month, or they do 2 days in a row so they wouldn't have to come for 2 months. And then their idea of work was a Zoom call on Pan-Asian Bisexual Awareness Week. And then they say, oh, I'm just as effective at home as I am at work. Yeah, if you measure your day drinking, do you know how many people became alcoholics because they were stuck at home? Do you know, you can see the statistics. We know as humans, when we're at home with our dog or our kids, and there's no visible boss, you aren't working, you're shirking. And don't say, hey, oh, but they might have home issues, medical problems, sick kids, ailing grannies. Join the club. It's called the world. We all go to work every day. We all have these problems. You know, we do it. We do it, so can you. And if you don't like it, there's the door.
All right, Dana, you know, and even those who are promising to return to work are not guaranteed that they're going to keep their job, given that they're going to be looking at agencies and positions. There's an argument for institutional knowledge, but given the bloated federal government, don't you think this is Trump just fulfilling his promise?
Well, there's new management. And so when new management comes in, there's often changes, and we saw that. You see that in the private sector all the time. It doesn't happen too often in government. I have an incredible, crazy story from when I first worked at Department of Justice. My friend had managed an office of many, many people, and she had many career people under her as well. And she heard about this woman. There was complaints about her. Like, she doesn't really do a lot, I'm sure. And so, but she would log in every day, and she would do some work, and so it really wasn't that high on her to-do list. And then she was ran an errand to Macy's one lunch hour. She's leaving, and she sees this woman at the makeup counter working.
Yeah, double jobs.
She had another job. So that's 25 years ago. I mean, that was a long time ago. But so you can find stories like that. You can find the $800 hammer, but you can also find really great people who have dedicated their lives because they love public service. You were one of those people, you were like, I want to be a prosecutor. Think about those people who are leaving the private sector now to work for President Trump for $1 or for nothing, because service matters to people. Now, you might have somebody, I know someone who works in cybersecurity. They can make 5 times the amount of money that they make in government. They were told before the pandemic that they could work from home 3 days a week. Some of them moved. So now their choices are like, do I move and go back to DC, but then I don't know if I'm going to have a job, and you only get 10 days to think about it? I think some of this hasn't been communicated the best in order to have a good workforce that says, we understand, we got it, we understand. There's just a lot of confusion, and some of this could be cleared up with like a little bit more care and thinking about how this is going to be taken. However, most people that hear about this, they're not going to be sympathetic to the federal worker.
No.
And whether that's fair or not is left to be seen.
Guys, let me tell you this. Trump was so bold that he literally came out today and said, look, we know that some of y'all have been working multiple jobs, and we're going to be investigating into that too. We're going to be looking to see if you were employed by other people while you were working for the federal government, because if you were, that's unlawful and we're coming after you. You're about to hear this in this big, huge speech, guys. I'm telling you, it is nuts. Woodbury Hills Studio, let's go. Gifting 1 TrueLife News memberships. Let's go. Y'all show Woodbury Hills Studio some love in the chat. And guys, we got something coming special from them that we're going to be showing y'all soon on live stream. Guys, you're going to love it. Guys, I wanted to show you this too as well. The Department of Government Efficiency said this: 85 DEI related contracts totaling $1 billion have been terminated within all these federal agencies: Department of Education, DOL, Treasury, USDA, Commerce, DHS, HHS, VA. Literally another $1 billion saved today. This was just posted moments ago by our Doge department. Guys, I love it. Saving us big time money. And again, thank you so much for gifting another True Life News memberships. Y'all show Woodbury Hill Studio some love in the chat. But guys, Trump's speech, he is literally holding everybody to the fire. And just want to say, guys, we got almost 1,300 people watching. Y'all are amazing. If you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help the channel out so much. Check this out.
We have informed the federal workforce, which they've looked to do for many years, that if they're working for the federal government, they must show up to the office on time and on schedule. We don't want them. We don't want them to work from home because, as everyone knows, most of the time they're not working, they're not very productive, and it's unfair to the millions of people in the United States who are in fact working hard from job sites and not from their home. As federal employees, they must meet a high standard. They're representing our government, they're representing our country. If they don't agree by February 6th to show up back to work in their office, they will be terminated, and we will therefore be downscaling our government, which is something that the last 10 presidents have tried very hard to do but failed. Most of the people we're talking about have not been going to their federal offices in many, many years, from even before COVID. But they have nevertheless been paid. Some have worked, some haven't worked, and most of the studies say that some have just gone through the motions. We may ask these people to prove that they didn't have another job during their so-called employment with the United States of America, because if they did, that would be unlawful. As you understand, a lot of people are getting paychecks, but they're actually working other jobs. So they'll have to prove that to us, that they weren't. In any event, we're requiring them to show up to work or be terminated. We think a very substantial number of people will not show up to work, and therefore our government will get smaller and more efficient. And that's what we've been looking to do for many, many decades, frankly.
Let's go.
Announced in 2015, and we won in 2016. We did very well in 2020, but we did really well just recently. And I'm restating right now to correct any confusion that the media has purposely and somehow, for whatever reason, created Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid have not been affected by any action we're taking in any way, shape, or form.
Let's go.
We are merely looking at parts of the big bureaucracy where there has been tremendous waste and fraud and abuse. In that process, we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million. And you know what's happened to them? They've used them as a method of making bombs. How about that?
That's so sad.
We stopped an attempt to make an illicit payment for illegal alien resettlement. We canceled $181 million in DEI training contracts. This is just for the training of people in DEI, which has been terminated and completely terminated. And we paused $1.7 billion in unauthorized payments to foreign organizations, including stopping more than $40 million that was on its way out the door to the very corrupt World Health Organization, which has not done its job and not done it properly. We also, blocked $45 million for diversity scholarships in Burma. 45, that's a lot of money for diversity scholarships in Burma. Today, I'm also signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it.
Guantanamo Bay.
We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back. So we're going to send them out to Guantanamo.
Guys, I'm telling you, he is not holding back. And I wanted to show you this, guys, because it's so good to know the facts of what's actually happening behind the scenes. President Clinton. So right now, Trump is cleaning house. He's cleaning the federal government, reducing the amount of government workers. President Clinton signed legislation, this was back in the day, to help reduce the federal workforce by about 273,000 people over the next 5 years by offering buyouts of up to $25,000 to employees who leave government. So, you know what? Trump's not the first one. President Clinton did. And remember, under President Clinton's presidency was one of the first times ever we actually had a surplus in the budget and not a deficit. So all the news is just trying to be bad on Trump. But guys, more and more news is coming out of where we are literally stopping so much money from going out. Guys, you're not going to believe this. Check this out. And thank you so much, Lay Lewis, for the super chat. He said, just letting y'all know that my dad had his open heart surgery yesterday. He's in the ICU and is having god-awful pain. Thank y'all, my True Life News family, for all your prayers. Y'all are simply awesome. Lay, we appreciate you. God bless you, and we're praying for your dad. Check this out.
Yes, well, thank you, Will, for inviting me to be with you. Today, we are announcing that we have stopped all grant funding that's being abused by NGOs to facilitate illegal immigration into this country. So it's amazing to me the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent by the federal government that has been sent.
So we taxpayers, we gave over $100 million to bring illegals into our country. I am so happy about this.
To NGOs to facilitate this invasion of our country. So I've taken action to stop those funds, to reevaluate them, and to make sure that we're actually using the taxpayer dollars in a way that strengthens this country, that keeps us safe. So I think people are curious when we look at grants that are given out by federal agencies at how they're utilized, and that evaluation needs to be done. We're not spending another dime to help the destruction of this country. We're going to make sure that we follow through on what President Trump has promised. And that's to make sure that we're securing our border, departing those who are here illegally, and committing criminal actions, and that our taxpayer dollars aren't spent to help it.
And Madam Secretary, I don't think people fully understand the role that NGOs play, many NGOs play, in facilitating illegal immigration. I just want to share these numbers with everybody up on the screen. We spend over $380 million, did in 2024, for sheltering and service programs for illegal immigrants. But the vast network of NGOs that help facilitate it through Panama, through Mexico, and make it a landing spot here in the United States is a massive contributor here to illegal immigration. So what you're telling us today is that now stops? At least the federal funding of that stops?
Yes, through the Department of Homeland Security, we have stopped spending those dollars to fund those NGOs. And, well, what's been so revealing is that many of these NGOs actually have infrastructure and operations set up in Mexico on that side of the border that are telling those illegal immigrants to come to them, and they will get them across the border. So they're not just operating in the United States, they're operating outside of the United States to help make it easier for those who want to break our laws.
Right.
And well, I was one of those Americans that years ago, when somebody said NGO to me, I thought, oh, that's amazing. That's a nonprofit that's out there telling somebody about Jesus, or spreading faith and salvation, or doing good work and charitable work, helping people that are less fortunate. And then I realized over the years it's been perverted into this shadow government. An NGO is sometimes an operation that does things that the government cannot do, can't legally do. So they create an entity to use government dollars, taxpayer dollars, to do something that the federal government isn't allowed to do, to do a shadow government operation that really has been used recently to undermine our country's national security.
Yeah, and they often have, and they are religious organizations, and they have very nice names, and they do great work in a lot of situations. But this is another thing that they are doing, is facilitating illegal immigration.
Guys, that is insane, guys. We are finally uncovering the truth. And what I love, guys, is that not only are we uncovering the truth, they're also putting out some amazing bills on the floor that I'm about to tell you about. But I want to say, guys, we have over 1,300 people watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, let's get, over 1,400. Let's get to 1,000 likes on stream, guys. Y'all are amazing. If you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really helps out so much. Guys, Representative Jeff Van Drew introduces a bill to amend the tax code to exempt members of the military from paying federal income tax. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this, guys. I'm actually in favor of this. If you serve our country and you are putting your life on the line for our freedom, you need to be taken care of by the country. Let me know your thoughts, but I want to go over a lot of the big news. Guys, the hearings today, Lutnick, Pam Bondi, RFK, check this out. There's so much to go over. Check this out.
The 60s, what a time to be alive. It was Kennedy's America, and we were fit and healthy. Obesity was just 13%. 60 years later, half the country's fat, sick, sad, and lonely. Our economy modernized and workers sit inside all day in front of screens. Without sunlight and movement, we became depressed, so we ate our feelings. The more we ate, the more companies injected our food with addictive chemicals, which made us eat more. And our poor gut health impacted our mental health. As our bodies and minds deteriorated, doctors prescribed us pills. So the sicker we got, the richer the food and drug industries got. Insurance companies grew bigger, and so did our government debt. Our children look like sumo wrestlers, and the Army can't recruit because no one can pass the cardio and push-up test. Suicide rates and drug overdoses have hit all-time highs.
Wow.
Congratulations, America. We're the sickest developed country on earth. People are happier, skinnier, and live longer in Panama, a country we're about to invade. So they'll soon be as fat and sick as we are. When we were skinny and healthy in the 60s, we didn't have Diet Coke, low-fat yogurt, and sugar-free snacks. They didn't even exercise in the 60s. Women weren't in the gym, and guys just played sports. Hippies threw Frisbees. Have you ever seen a fat hippie? The average woman in 1960 weighed 140 pounds. Today, she weighs 170. The average man in 1960 weighed 166. And now the average guy's about 200.
Dang, that's
American
how much
men and
I weigh.
women have added an average of 30 pounds. And all we do all day is sit. No wonder everything aches. And some of it's our fault, but not all of it. Finally, a Kennedy comes back to Washington who wants to change that and make America healthy again. RFK Jr., Trump's nominee for Health and Human Services, came into the Capitol for a hearing like a hero. When he sat down, his opening statement was sweet and simple.
President Trump has promised to restore America's global strength and to restore the American dream, but he understands we can't be a strong nation when our people are so sick. A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person has only one, of the Make America Healthy Again movement. This movement, led largely by Maha moms from every state, you can see many of them behind us today, and in the hallways and in the lobbies, is one of the most transcendent and powerful movements I've ever seen. I will do everything in my power to put the health of Americans back on track.
Yes.
He also promised he's not changing the menu at Mickey D's.
I don't want to take food away from anybody. If you like a cheeseburger, a McDonald's cheeseburger, a Diet Coke, which my boss loves, and you should be able to get them. If you want to eat Hostess Twinkies, you should be able to do that, but you should know what the impacts are on your family and on your health.
RFK is like a public service announcement. It's like what we did with cigarettes. No one banned smoking. They just educated you on what it does to you. And funny enough, the same companies that put addictive chemical additives into cigarettes also put it into food. Americans should have the healthiest food, the most transparent industries, and the safest pharmaceuticals. And no one should lie to us about the science for our sake and for the sake of our children. This isn't a partisan issue, but today in Washington, it was.
I guess my question to you is, if it really is fundamental to what you believe, how do you live with that? How do you address those issues as you're moving forward,
You want me to
knowing
answer
that
the
it's going to
question,
harm
Senator?
Americans? Yeah.
You want me to answer the question?
No, I'm asking you.
Okay, President Trump has asked me to end the chronic disease epidemic and make America healthy again. All of those are moving deck chairs around on the Titanic. Our ship is sinking. Our 60% increase in Medicaid over the past 4 years is the biggest budget line now, and it's growing faster than any other. And no other nation in the world has what we have here.
The same politicians who oversaw the explosion of obesity and chronic diseases, who never held hearings on clean.
Guys, we're so close. We got over 1,400 people watching. Let's get over 1,000 likes. If you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, guys, please do so. We're so close, and appreciate you, Andy, for the super chat. Said, why can't we force all these traders who did this refund the money back to the taxpayers? No NGOs get federal tax money again. Give us back our money is what I say too. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat.
Eating, corruption, or side effects are yelling at the one guy whose mission in life is health, who's 71 and can do more pull-ups than Democrats on the committee combined. The whole system is upside down when Liz Warren is defending Big Pharma.
I'm asking you to commit right now that you will not take a financial stake in every one of those lawsuits, so that what you do as secretary will also benefit you financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You and I, you have said
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
RFK Jr. spent his whole life suing industry on behalf of the little guy. And the Democrats, who just lost an election because they forgot about the little guy, are demanding Bobby Kennedy stop fighting for the little guy. Everybody in Washington has conflicts of interest, but Liz Warren, of all people, has taken over $1 million from healthcare and pharmaceutical interests. The ranking Democrat on the committee, Ron Wyden, he's taken over $1 million from him too.
Man.
At one point, Liz Warren declares she's the only one who can take money from Big Pharma.
You're not going to take money from drug companies in any way, shape, or form.
Me?
Yes, you.
I'm happy to commit to that.
Okay, good. That's what I figured. I said it's an easy question to start with. And I think you're right on this question.
I don't think any of them want to give me money, by the way.
Democrats are attacking a Democrat on behalf of drug companies. Bernie Sanders, Mr. Vermont, whose constituents love hiking, yoga, and organic cheese, made a fool of himself.
They are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies. One of them is titled Unfaxed, Unafraid. Your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines.
Hey guys, I just want everybody to know something super important. Bernie Sanders is trying to do that comb over. He ain't combing over nothing, but I think he just should just shave it all off.
Supportive of these onesies.
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine?
I am supportive of vaccines. I want good science.
If Democrats cared so much about everybody being vaccinated, they wouldn't have let 10 million unvaxxed third world migrants into the country. None of these Biden migrants had the COVID vax. You think they had the measles vax too?
Nope.
Do you think these Venezuelans who trekked through the Darien Gap into Texas all had their polio vaccine? Bernie kept trying to nail Bobby, but he kept getting outfoxed.
Is healthcare a human right?
In the way that free speech is a human right, I would say it's different because if with free speech doesn't cost anybody anything, but in healthcare, if you smoke cigarettes for 20 years and you get cancer, you are now taking from the pool. And so are you guaranteed the same right, or is there also a duty?
I'm sorry, I'd love to talk for an hour with you. We got a few minutes left here.
When they finally let Kennedy speak, he said, "Are you going to tell me that we're all just going to sit here at this hearing and defend the status quo?"
I would ask, any of the Democrats who were chuckling just now, do you think all that money, the $900 billion that we're sending to Medicaid every year, has made Americans healthy? Do we think it's working for anybody? Nope. Are the premiums low enough?
Crisis. We didn't even realize it until the pandemic. That's when people started focusing on their lifestyle, cooking their own food, going for walks, lifting, reading, being lied to by Fauci. But they're telling us, no, stay inside, Netflix and chill, order Seamless and cannabis for dessert. This government has failed the people. And instead of wanting to fix the government, the Democrats want to make sure no one loses their job.
Will you pledge that you will not fire federal employees who work on food safety, work on trying to preventing things like salmonella?
Senator, there are 91,000 employees.
So that I take that as that's a simple yes. And I'm going to take that as a no.
Run that agency
I take that as a no.
Will
you actually? We talked about protecting Americans from cyber criminals. Something we need to do a lot more on. Will you commit not to fire anyone in the health arena who currently works on protecting Americans from cyber attacks in their healthcare files?
I will commit to not firing anybody who's doing their job.
Politicians are more worried about saving the jobs of bureaucrats than saving the lives of American children. This issue is so much deeper than politics.
This is not just an economic issue. It's not just a national security issue. It is a spiritual issue, and it is a moral issue. We cannot live up to our role as an exemplary nation, as a moral authority around the world, and we're writing off an entire generation of kids.
Democrats who always use kids as human shields for their policies, can't do this, got to save the kids, can't do that, got to protect the kids. Suddenly, they don't care about the kids. You remember growing up, your fourth grade class, maybe one kid had an inhaler, maybe 2 or 3 kids were a little chunky. Not anymore.
When I launched my campaign, it was about uniting Americans, Democrats and Republicans. There's no issue that should unite us more than this chronic health epidemic. There's no such thing as Republican children or Democratic children.
No.
These are our kids. 66% of them are damaged. I know what a healthy kid looks like because I had so many of them in my family. I didn't know anybody with a food allergy growing up. Peanut allergy.
I did.
Why do 5 of my kids have allergies?
Wow. By no means is Bobby Kennedy perfect. Not even close. He's had his demons. He's said things. We've all gone through stuff. But some of our best leaders have flaws. RFK Jr. is the only one with the skills, knowledge, and experience to get inside of this government and help America reverse this chronic disease epidemic. Our citizens voted to make America great and healthy again. RFK Jr. was a major part of this winning coalition.
Guys, and I'm telling you, the only reason that they can't stand them is because they're disruptors like Trump. The Democrats can't stand Trump, and they can't stand anybody that's like him in any single way. Thank you so much, Mr. Norby, for the super chat. Guys, y'all go read his. He basically said a lot of stuff and said, smash that like button, guys. So if you haven't hit the like button, please do so. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat. Let's go. And he said, and again, for his membership on the channel, time to take America back and keep it. Guys, y'all are so amazing. I wanted to show you something from the Babylon Bee. If you don't know who they are, guys, they're satire, comedy. I saw this and I literally laughed out loud. American enemies signed petition to bring back Joe Biden. Everybody is literally just so afraid of Trump right now. And you know why? Because he does what he says he's going to do. puts America first, baby. Want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you every day with the top news, guys. And if you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, please do so. We got over 1,000 likes. Y'all are so amazing. And guys, I wanted to show you, guys, because remember too, we take the membership fees and we take the super chats and we give back to charity every single month on this. So we gave to the Tupelo Mansion, which is a group home for kids that don't have families. For kids that they literally don't have anybody, and they help them find homes and they love them and take care of them. Well, they sent us a card. Check it out right here. Oh, no, it's on this side. Tupelo Mansion. And it said, I am thankful for you. And look, this is one of the drawings one of the kids did. Guys, and look, this is from one of their directors. They wrote us a letter, or a postcard, so I'm going to read it to y'all. It says, thank you for your recent donation to Tupelo Children's Mansion. We appreciate you. Every dollar given by our supporters, we use on the precious children God has entrusted in our care. We couldn't do this without you. Together, we can something building dreams. Sorry, I can't read it. From Angela Parker. So guys, look at that. I love it, guys. Every single month, we're giving back to charity, partnering with you. Want to give some shout outs to Lay Lewis, Sherry Garcia, Andy, Mr. Tracy J. Norby, Woodbury Hill Studio. Y'all show them some love in the chat, guys. I love y'all so much. Appreciate your support. We are here to serve you every day with the top news, Monday through Friday, 2 shows a day, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. And guys, I'm just so excited for where things are going. Remember, in February, we're donating to New Beginnings to help out help out women with unplanned pregnancies and dealing with that, adopting kids and giving kids homes, guys. So this is a new wonderful charity we're going to partner together to give to. But I love you, appreciate your support, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.